Welcome everyone. Thank you for logging on to the Australian Institute for Commercialisation's webinar on Agile New Product Development. This is one of a series of webinars supported by the Queensland Government Department of Science, IT, Innovation and the Arts and QMI Solutions. I'm Jennifer Whalen and I will be your producer today. We will be recording your on-screen presentation and recording our presenters for you. Later today we will send you a short questionnaire and a link to the recorded material for you to view again at your own leisure. All attendees are in listen-only mode with their microphones muted. If you have any issues with your sound or visuals, please send us a short message. During the presentation, if you have any questions or comments, please type these into the window on the right and send them as we go. We will respond to them in the final segment of the day. Now I'd like to introduce the presenters, Rob Geddes, our Product Development Specialist at AIC, and Gerard Ryan, Managing Director of Prodex Systems. Welcome. If I can get you gentlemen to give a succinct overview of your backgrounds before we start.
Thanks, Jen. Rob Geddes. I'm the Product Development Specialist here at AIC at the QMI Solutions, and I have a 30-year background in developing new products through consulting design service.
And I'm Gerard Ryan. I'm the Managing Director of a company called Prodex Systems, and we work across mainly Australia and New Zealand, providing consulting, training and software solutions to many companies, particularly in the consumer goods sector, but in a range of sectors, and again over 30 years experience in product development. So hopefully we can add some value for you today.
That's great. Thanks, Gerard. So, Gerard, right up front, why do businesses need to be agile?
I guess the emphasis in agility is really about speed, and we think of speed and agility rather than the concept of the slow business. We think of big businesses as being the tanker or the container ship that's very difficult to change direction or turn around. There's a saying that I like, that in today's world it's the fast that eat the slow, and so you don't need to be big to succeed, but you do need to be agile. And so if you think about the S-curve that we've got on screen here, it can apply really whether it's a startup business or whether it's the launch of a new product. But from the green circle there, we move through an establishment phase. We eventually achieve some market, some sales for our product or service, or for our range of products and services in our business, and we grow through a growth period. But all products in all markets trend towards commoditisation over time, and as we reach the top of the S-curve, there's a need for businesses to reinvent themselves. And so so what we see here is this transformation over time, and the need to move to the next phase. So before we, I guess, reach that maturity phase, at the end of the growth phase, we need to anticipate what the next wave of opportunity might be. And there's a very famous CEO, Andy Grove, who was the CEO of Intel, who made the statement that you will, in your business, ultimately go out of business. It's just a matter of time. And so one of the key business drivers of agile product development is the fact that we need to reinvent ourselves, our businesses, our products and services again and again.
So the benefits of agile, as I see it, are actually that you're it's in the name, that you're more agile, you're more responsive to your target market, you beat your competition at the market, or you're a very quick responder. So you're a more dynamic organisation that can get out there and respond to market needs and the changes that everyone's feeling around them. With this you can maintain your market leadership, enhance your reputation, and make sure that your sales and profits are growing, or at least, at the very least, you're staying in business to fight another day. So agile is a very important concept in business today. And we've got a timeline here of developing new ideas, new products, because this is all about agile new product development. And once an opportunity or an idea or a need comes into place on the timeline, on the very left there's actually a delay. Same with braking in your car. There's a delay before the perception of the of the opportunity or the problem in the marketplace, that time can be crucial later on. We then move into this development phase to develop something based on your perception. And again, there might even be a delay before you take action on the development. That time again can be crucial, and we'll hear about that. All of the time, and the development, if you're taking your time in development and you do it carefully and methodically and take your time, that launch date can get pushed out further and further and further, and you may lose in the marketplace. And then we have a later time even again before you break even, then later again before profits, and then who knows when the obsolescence might be in your particular business. And this is the cash flow that you've got in your business with this particular opportunity. It's taken you time to get the perception of the opportunity or the need, and then to take action before you start spending money. And it might take you time to evaluate the idea and your response and what you need to do about it. And money is being spent all through this development phase, right up until the launch, and it's even being spent after the launch where you've got more expenses than you've got income. It takes a while before you become cash flow positive and before you get returns on your product. But here, you still haven't broken even. You're still paying for the cost of development, all heading up to the profit period, which is a very unknown period in this time. And it might be extremely short, it might not even exist. You may not recover the costs of development if you take too long, if you spend too much money, if you're not agile enough as a company.
So Rob, just to comment there, one of the statistics from research is that approximately 47% of products are successful. Best-in-class companies are perhaps as high as 80%, but that really says that for the less successful companies, only 1 in 2 products will actually pass that break-even point. And if you're a best-in-class company, then maybe you'll achieve that 4 out of 5 times, but on at least 20% of occasions, you're likely to invest in products where you're not going to achieve the return on the investment that you sought.
Very good point. And these 2 key timelines here are worth looking at. The innovation cycle time is the delay between when the opportunity or the need first arises and when you deliver something in response into the marketplace. And that includes all of that delay in perception and action. Consider that sort of the braking distance, or the delay in braking with your car. And the other thing is time to profit. Many people forget about the time to profit. They'll often focus on the time till they're getting positive cash flow, but not the time to profit. And often, very often, we see it happen that product development isn't returning on the expenditure. So the returns that are coming back from the customer aren't actually covering the costs of development before the obsolescence happens. So that time to profit is something to focus on, and the amount of profit that you're likely to get out of a particular opportunity is something to focus on as well, because at the very least, that's all that you can spend on development. Now, that net profit period is very unknown, and at some stage, you're probably going to get some sort of a threat, a change in the marketplace, a challenge in the marketplace, and then you need, again, to be agile to respond to that. So what if we could do this part up front, the whole development and getting to profit more efficiently? That's what the whole agile product development concept is all about, doing that more efficiently so that you get to profits more efficiently and you're able to respond to challenges and perhaps even increase your profit period. That'd be nice. So bringing forwards your response perhaps to the opportunity, the time before you've taken action, being more decisive about your product development, knowing what steps to move because you've actually done some pre-thinking, can bring forwards the launch date. So bringing forward this launch date actually gives you the opportunity for massively increased profits, increased market share, and perhaps a longer time in the marketplace, perhaps even keeping your competitors out of the marketplace. Your your area, your profit, your break-even point can actually come further forwards, significantly further forwards, and give you a longer period of time before this later obsolescence to make profits.
There's also, I guess, in new platform or technology breakthrough products, there's a lot of studies around the profit impact of market share, which is really about the early mover advantage. We see that obviously with people like Apple in the iPhone market and others. But the suggestion or the implication there is that the company that launches sooner has a better chance at securing the customer's wallet and therefore perhaps a higher market share over the life cycle of their product.
No, that's right. Thanks very much, Gerard. So that's the fundamentals behind why you should be agile, but now we're getting on to some of the key aspects of being agile. And here's 4 that we'd like to run through, some of the key focus points with agile new product development. Being customer focused and delivering on customer value, being primed to act in full readiness, building agility into your business through effective processes, and building a culture that delivers the business benefit to your company and also customer value so that they keep on paying.
So I guess on that just to build on that business benefit and customer value, we've seen a lot of work done lately that describes the most attractive new product development opportunities as those which deliver strategic value to the company, business value in terms of return on investment, as well as customer value in that the customer cares and they're willing to invest in the product opportunity. So I guess that in this point 4 here, business benefit is probably a combination of strategic value and business value, but those 3 items there of strategic, business and customer value are critical to success.
Oh, that's right. But the first of those 4 is actually being customer focused. That's particularly important, and that's a very strong agile standpoint, a key focus point for agile product development. And it's all about really understanding, knowing your customers, being in touch with your customers all of the time so that you're able to respond. In fact, you get an early warning as to what's happening in the marketplace where your customers are perhaps not entirely delighted with your product, or they're moving towards another alternative in the marketplace, that the customer's needs are changing. If you're in touch with your customer, if you're very customer focused, you can actually respond, get the earlier warning and start to do something earlier. So being customer focused is particularly important in Agile. One of the main things that we're trying to do here with customer focus is actually get customer empathy. It's not just knowing the statistics and all of the quantitative things about the size of the market and where they are in their age and their demographics and all the rest of it. You're trying to know the market. You're really trying to get a fundamental understanding so that you can foresee the next move in the market. The backward-looking statistics won't tell you what the market is going to do next. This will actually only come from watching the marketplace, watching overseas, watching the trends, seeing where the market is moving, understanding the thinking of your market. And you need to do that by moving from just observing and knowing the information about the marketplace to making an emotional connection with the marketplace so that you're truly understanding them. And down the bottom there we've got a photograph of a customer advisory board. This is one very good way if you actually have customers on an advisory board for your business. Invite them in once a month. Give them some samples of your product if it's that sort of thing. Give them some juice and a nice meal. But get an understanding. Get them to tell you what they think about your product, where the market's going, what your competitors' products are doing, how that's satisfying them. They'll tell you. They'll be delighted to tell you. It's a very useful tool. In fact, quite a number of businesses try to employ people from the target market on their business. This is very much the case with smaller businesses that actually generated from within the market. So a bike shop might actually have crazy bike riders setting up the business in the first place. So they fundamentally understand the market and they're in touch with the market every day of the week. So consider what you can do to get to understand and really know the market with customer empathy.
So in addition to the concept of customer panels, which is really an opportunity to talk about the broader aspects of the market, the competition, and perhaps your existing products, one of the keys to agile product development is getting to the new product concept and which addresses your unmet customers' needs in advance of your competitors. And so there's a set of methodologies around capturing the voice of the customer using qualitative rather than quantitative research methods. And in this approach, it's really about empowering your own team, your own people, your own designers, your own engineers, your own software developers in a process of conducting open, qualitative, probing interviews with existing customers, with lost customers, with competitors' customers, with perhaps lead users, with the objective of identifying and understanding their use of the product so that you can identify images that you can respond to with potential solutions for new products, as well as the requirements that feed into the feature set for your new product development brief.
And as well as that, there's actually some quite simple little things that you can do on a daily basis every day of the week in your business. And that's actually just have a true understanding of who your customer segments are. Try to find out, try to categorize, try to work out what the segments are that actually run your business, that are your customers. Try to get a photograph of them, try to really understand who they are and what they think. Classify them and really get to know them. Some of the companies that we deal with actually put names to these people so that they have a conversation with them on a daily basis. And this will lead you to better understandings, having that emotional connection with them. They're real people. They're not just numbers or statistics on a monthly sales report. And what you're trying to do is actually get an idea of customer behaviour. What drives their behaviour? Once you understand who these people are, you're better able to understand why they might make certain decisions, why they're not buying your product, why they might buy a competitor product, and what they might buy next if you presented it to them. So really understanding them, making them real. Large companies do this with market research as well and go right into it. But with some simple tools, you can do this yourself, even in a very small business, without any great overhead. Here's an example of one customer segment for a little boutique motel. And this is a female traveller that the company has worked out is one of their major important customer segments. And they've put together a customer persona here, tried to put down what is the typical specifications to some extent of the customer segment. What do they like? Who are they? What do they read? What do they belong to? What else have they got in their life? What does this product of yours have to fit with? So really understanding this person and what turns them off, what turns them on, and you're probably better able to respond to their needs. One of the key things we've got down here too is that little bubble where this company has recognised that the revenue from this particular segment, this female business traveller, is actually only 15% of the revenue for this particular company, but it represents 35% of the profit. So these people are this segment is one that represents well over a third of the profit of the company. So perhaps you should get inside the head of this particular customer segment and understand why it is this way, how you can enhance that, and perhaps how you can drive that into other segments of the market as well. So getting inside their head can be done with using this customer empathy map. You can do it on yourself on a piece of ruled paper. You don't need to download this map, which is available online. But it's all about just understanding that particular customer. What does she hear out in the marketplace? What are people saying about motels, and what are people saying about where they're staying, what they're travelling, and what to expect? What's the media saying? What does she see out and about? Does she see nice new motels going up elsewhere and you're not changing? What catches her attention? What's around? What does she think and feel? What really counts? What are the major preoccupations and worries and aspirations of this particular customer. And what does she say and do? What does she say about your motel when she leaves? What does she say about another expensive inner city motel? What does she say about a country hotel? So understanding this gets insights into them, gets you inside the head, and gets you to understand the pains and the gains. And these are the things that you can address your product offering to as well, satisfying the pains and delivering gains for that particular customer. So a simple customer empathy map is actually a very useful tool. Another tool that can be downloaded off the web as well, the web address is there, is this value proposition canvas. It goes one step further from, on the right-hand side, looking at the pains and gains and what tasks need to be done by this particular sector of the market, and translates that directly into the gain creators and the pain relievers that your value proposition can come up with to satisfy directly the issues that the section of the target market has. And this can generate directly a whole range of different ideas of products and services that you might put together. So these are very simple things. They're not expensive, they're not difficult, but we suggest that you do them on an ongoing basis to really understand your customer, to be customer focused.
So the next step in the Agile framework we're presenting today is that beyond being customer focused, we also need to be primed. We need to be ready to act upon those opportunities as soon as they emerge so that we can move ourselves further to the left on the timeline that Rob's just shared with you. So perhaps the first point in that is the very beginning of the product development process, where we talk about the way in which we capture and manage ideas. I guess all too often there's not a formalised process for managing ideas in a lot of businesses, and so lots of very good telephone conversations, hallway conversations, by the coffee machine conversations that might espouse we should do, or I've seen this great thing. There's actually a great benefit to the business in structuring that, capturing those ideas, sharing those through storyboards, sharing those through ideation sessions, and then evaluating those ideas to determine their relative benefit to the company. And so once we capture ideas, we really need to review them using simple matrices like the one we have here. Our first column, we spoke before about strategic fit or strategic value. Our second and third columns on financial returns and market growth potential are really a gauge to the potential business value. And the customer appeal, so some people will talk about the consumer proposition and dissect the different customers for your product. But ultimately we're interested here in the overall customer value. And finally the ease of implementation. Perhaps we might look at the investment required and the potential return available, and look at the potential bang for buck or productivity of these potential ideas. So when we look at the ideas or the arenas that we might want to play into, in this case we've got an example on screen of a range of different strategic arenas for a company that's currently in the cereals and bars business. They've recently made an offer of chips in the in-flight area. So the yellow stars here are their existing products. And so the challenge is, how do we determine which arenas we can move into, and how do we determine which arenas we might be successful in? So the blue triangles here are identifying those arenas where our competitors have recently introduced products. And so the question we're asking ourselves at a strategic level, at a product strategy level, at a manufacturing technology level is there an opportunity for us to move perhaps into the market for gluten-free chips? And this is where we also bring in our market and technology road mapping insights and the concept of tipping points, because it's critical that we understand not only that those markets exist, but when they're actually worth entering. So we need to make estimations of market size, estimations of potential market share, and estimations of the potential margin on sales that we can achieve in each of those categories.
And talking Agile, one of the quick ways to respond to a situation in the marketplace is actually just look at incremental improvements in your existing product range. do things that are simple. Change the colours, bundle things together, produce them in different finishes, different packaging for a different market. They're the simple things that you can do to respond quickly using your existing products and services and your existing tooling, so that and your existing supply chain, so that you can respond in a quick way. They're things that perhaps you've actually stored up along the way. You've been prepared. You're primed to act. But now you've got a situation in the marketplace and you can respond because you're ready, and this is a quick way of responding. So look at what you can do. Your existing adult toothbrushes could be redeveloped to target a child market. Your existing tired old cinema might actually just have a quick refurb and be remarketed to tie in with the latest release of a new movie, and away you go. So that's a simple, quick and agile move you can make.
So one of the key concepts here is that in the context of portfolio management, probably 60 to 80% of the companies that within the companies that we work with, 60 to 80% of the investment in new product development is in this category of incremental improvements to existing products. So if you think about it, most businesses have active products in the market in which they've invested heavily. They're the cash cows. And the question is really, how can we extend the life of those cash cows to overcome the obsolescence question and ensure that we derive continued revenues from those products? So the significance of the investment in that, it's the easiest area, it's the lowest risk area. It doesn't mean we shouldn't be moving in other areas in terms of breakthrough opportunities, because they're the defensive things that secure the future of our company. But I think it's important to realise that somewhere between 60 and 80% of most businesses' product development portfolio is in this incremental category.
Exactly, and as you say, Gerard, you shouldn't bypass looking after those breakthrough opportunities, looking after that major product development work that you should be doing on an ongoing basis. So here's an example of a platform product idea. And would you like to talk to this, Gerard?
Certainly. So I guess one of the concepts or statements that I really like in relation to platform development is that if you're not thinking platforms, you're not thinking. So if you think about the fact that a product platform concept can be the creation of a single platform technology, in this case a single 18-volt power source which has been applied to a full range of products, then the fact that you're creating this and bringing it to the marketplace puts you in a potential leadership position rather than your competitors. I think it's also important to recognise the link between overall business strategy and agile product development, because innovation strategy is starts from the business strategy. In this case, the example we have on screen is of the Carmen's business with the positioning statement, real food made with real passion. But the definition, the clear and articulate definition of the strategic arenas within which the business chooses to play, a la real food, real passion, sets up the framework of opportunities within which the business can respond. So unlike the reactive mode of all things to all people, the targeted mode of knowing what you represent and what value you bring to your customers in the marketplace can be a very important overarching and guiding principle that can come from the top down to enhance the agility of your product development effort.
That's good, and they're very primed to act with any change in the marketplace. But the third area to look at here in these key focus areas is building agility into your business. So it's great to be customer focused to understand what changes are happening in the marketplace and where you should go. It's great to be ready to act, but you also need to be able to do this well. And so building agility into the business is key also. With this one here, we've actually got effectively a serial development process, such as a stage gate process of developing things, taking them from an idea all the way through developing the concept, creating the brief, developing the product, producing a prototype, and getting it into the marketplace. what we're saying with Agile is rather than just have a good idea and drive it all the way through the business yourself, that you should actually have the customer engaged all the way along the line. Get their feedback, be customer focused all the way along the line, and be prepared to respond to those customer comments along the process.
I guess this also talks to the point of how do we integrate an Agile methodology with the overarching governance framework of a stage gate methodology. And I guess the key concept is that we do need the stage gate framework to ensure that the business seeks to continue to invest in those ideas. So the concept of the gating process is really, as we move through, we go in, we go toe deep, knee deep, waist deep, and we dive in, and so we make a progressive investment in the project. Within each of the stages, we need to iteratively work in an agile way, continuously engaging with the customer to bring prototypes and product concepts and value propositions to them, and to validate their relative worth to the customer to increase our probability of success at the end of the journey.
And one of the concepts there is the product development funnel as well, which is exactly as you say. You start with many ideas which are just toe deep in the water, and it develops them and passes them through these gating processes all the way along until you actually deliver, launch a product, and then even review the product after it's hit the marketplace. So that's
I think one of the comments that those companies that do pick up a gated methodology, one of the mistakes that we've seen is the perception that there's one process for all projects. So the example on screen has a scoping, business case development, launch, and that's the type of framework that you would use certainly for a breakthrough new product opportunity and for major new product opportunities. But for the incremental changes that we spoke about earlier, we'd move to a fast-track process where we merge the feasibility assessment into the business case, we evaluate the relative worth of that opportunity, and we accelerate that project through the development phase. So we merge testing and development into a single phase, we merge feasibility and business case into a single phase, and so part of the agility solution is having both a full track and a fast track process for projects of different types, and ensuring that for that 70 to 80% of our portfolio which are incremental projects, that we're not dragging those projects through complex governance systems that act as red tape and impede their agility to the marketplace.
Yes, once you've got a decision to go with the business case, you fire the gun. It just fires quickly out the barrel. And you're actually only working on one project at a time here. You can concentrate and be more agile as a result. There's quite a number of tools out there as well that build agility into your business. And here's a list of some, and as we're recording it, you'll be able to download this later on and look up some of these. I'll run through a few, the ones in red, just very quickly here today, just to show you that some tools are actually more suited to agility than other tools. So this one I like a lot. It's actually the morphological boxes. It's a very simple tool, and you can use it yourself using just post-it notes on a wall and work very quickly to come up with simple, workable solutions. So, for example, in this concept of developing a lamp for camping, there's a whole lot of design elements, parts of the product that need to be produced. And for example, the power supply. The power supply of this lamp might be a battery, it might be mains power, it might be solar or generator, or you might crank it to create the light in this particular lamp. And so they're the different options that you can come up with quite quickly for power supply. You can also come up with the options quite quickly for the bulb type, the light intensity, the size, the style, the finish, the material, perhaps even the packaging, perhaps even the channel to market, all of those sorts of things. Quickly come up with all the different options, and then picking one on each line, you come up with the concept. So in this case, it's a solar-powered incandescent bulb, medium light intensity, medium size, modern white metallic camping light. There's a concept, and very quickly you've been able to generate that and not spend too much time considering all the thousands of combinations and permutations, looking at all of the different options that you might produce. So that's a very quick, very useful tool. Another useful concept is actually core. Concentrate on reusing elements. you might have existing tooling, existing components, existing software, existing code that you use. In this case, it's come out of the German automotive industry, this whole concept. To use existing componentry to make it quicker to respond, to develop a new product, to make it cheaper as well. You don't have to retool, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. So core, concentrating on reusing existing elements, is a very good concept for Agile. So there's quite a number of these tools. Quick tools as well in the whole design development area. You'll see design studios using sketching and using block models as well. Quickly come up with ways to represent it and put it in the hands of the customers. Get feedback as quickly as you can and make it very responsive, very easy. You don't have to just do prototypes right at the very end. You can do them all the way along the line for various purposes to get the feedback. Here are some quick block models for a mobile device. And there are things like photocopies just stuck on the face of it to represent what's on the screen, just to get the quick feedback.
So one of the concepts in Agile product development is the term minimum viable prototype. So the notion that we can, whether it's a block of foam, whether it's a paste up using a package like Illustrator to create an image of a screenshot of what a piece of software may look like, packaging concept, etc. The notion of generating minimum viable prototypes as cheaply as possible, as early as possible, as quickly as possible throughout the product development process, and iterating those with the customer all the way through.
And here, you can do it for a service as well. Here's a full-size mock-up of a banking situation where you might have individual interview desks and things like that. So it's not just for product design. You can actually mock up a whole service, set up a pop-up pizza shop if you want to, and try something out. And if you've done all of that quick iteration, etc., you can then jump into the detailed design work of CAD modeling and all those sorts of things. These tools are good, but you really need to be developing the right thing. Otherwise, it's all wasted time. You can invest an awful lot of time in detailed CAD modeling. If you're working on the wrong project, on the wrong device, if it's not suited to the user and you haven't had that feedback, you might later on get feedback that you don't want after investing an awful lot of time in computer-aided design and design simulations. But these tools are very useful as well to take it forwards and give you information. We can also, these days, develop rapid prototypes and 3D printing, even go to direct manufacture of parts using very rapid additive manufacturing techniques as well. And that's a useful thing to consider, particularly when you're trying to be agile. So build these techniques and tools into your business and test it with the customer. Get them to try it out. There's actually the term Agile Project Management as well, which is a particular discipline. And we'd suggest you have a look at that as well if you're looking at being agile. This is used mostly in the software development area, but it's based on lean principles, which is a manufacturing process, and is actually useful in product development. So Agile Project Management is all about being customer focused and being adaptive, and it's all about this iterative planning and sprints. So using self-managed teams to take the work and do it very efficiently in an agile way. And Agile has a bit of a pace as well. It's all built around the daily stand-up. And it's all meant to be short iterations as well, so that you don't over-invest in something that might be wrong. On the right-hand side there, we've got the waterfall methodology of traditional project management, where you spend an awful lot of time developing to then showcase to internally, or showcase to the client, or potentially take it to the marketplace, or buyers or resellers. In which case you might get a bad report card and you have to start again. It's an awful lot of time invested. Whereas with Agile, there's lots of small iterations and you're getting feedback all the way along the line, so that you can be more agile and respond to any changes, any negative feedback, and build it in. It's a smooth, fast sprint type of operation. So here we are. Here, the whole project is broken down into a whole series of tasks to do, and those tasks are planned in reverse. We break down the job to do from the launch date all the way back to the present day, and then undertake the tasks in the forward motion. But planning it in that way actually gets rid of wasted time. It's amazing how quickly the process can be worked out if you do it that way. It's very much like having a deadline and having to deliver to a deadline. Each of those tasks then is taken through the sprint planning. The team works out themselves who's doing what. They do the sprint, which might be a week or a fortnight, depending on the company, and deliver completed tasks, individual, deliverable, workable components of the product. You review the sprint, you do a retrospective on where you are in the whole project, and you do your sprint planning again, and it goes round and round delivering completed tasks. It's a very fast, agile process.
So the last step in our Agile product development framework we're presenting today is the cultural piece, so the people piece that's so important to success. So the first one is this enhanced use of cross-functional teams in an Agile development environment. So the paradigm shift from having somebody who's the R&D manager, the product development manager at the centre of the circle and having everything flow through them is really pushed to one side, and we have a true cross-functional team who are working collaboratively with the product that's being brought to market at the centre of the screen. And so what we have is this shared team responsibility, shared accountability, shared ownership, shared drive, shared push in bringing these products and opportunities to the marketplace.
That sharing comes through in the Agile project management process as well. Agile is all about being collegiate. It's all about working together, self-managed teams that are responsible to each other and to the team and to the project, and everybody is on board, everybody's responsible. It empowers the team and encourages customer involvement as well. They're part of the team. So it's all very customer focused and very agile, very responsive. It's collegiate. It's how many small design studios operate rather than this dictatorial style, which is actually not very responsive to change. And change is something that you need to be responsive to if you're going to be agile. So Agile's all about teamwork. It's setting clear goals, being focused on delivering customer value. It's having self-governance, self-managed teams, they manage each other. It's not about having a management process where things are dictated in the corner office and everybody just follows the script. The team are responsible people that are in their jobs for a reason, and they take on the responsibility and work together to develop the end result. And it's all about communication of the team as well. This collective responsibility is very important and a very key part of being agile. And Australia should be very good at this. We're all typically small business oriented, so we're not in the main in large organisations which are very slow to move and decisions have to be made higher up the tree, etc. So this collegiate style should suit Australia. Agile is all built around these the daily stand-ups as well. These are short meetings that happen particularly every day. They're sometimes called scrums, and it helps this team work smoothly. So you've got an understanding of what's happening. And it's all about communication. So at a daily stand-up meeting, it's stand-up, you don't sit down, it's not a big meeting, and everybody goes through three things only. What I did since my last stand-up, so you're sharing that. What my blockers are, so people understand that and perhaps can solve that. And what I'll complete today. So everyone has an understanding of what everyone's doing and away they go. There's a commitment to the team there that you've actually said what you're going to complete today and you're coming back tomorrow to say what you did since the last meeting. It's amazing how the work will get done if you're committing to the team. And good startups are very crisp and motivating, and on you get it on with the work. This is an agile team in operation. So there's one mnemonic here that I'd like to cover as well, which is GIFTS. A good start, improvement, focus, team, and status. Good start is all about starting with the daily startup meeting and it being crisp and empowering. And from there you move through and you embrace improvement. You have focus on the job and focus on the customer. It's all about the team, and the status is all about what things, where we're at right now, what things need to change, and where we're going to. So just recapping on today, these key focus points for Agile new product development. The 4 that we went through, be customer focused and deliver customer value. That's a key one, Gerard.
Yeah, being primed to act, so having the customer focus is sufficient to help us identify the appropriate strategic arenas, but we also have to have the nimbleness to act quickly when we identify those opportunities.
And so when you've identified those opportunities, have the ability in your business to respond and be agile and bring forward this product development cycle time to deliver to the marketplace and get your returns quickly, get into the marketplace quickly.
And finally, we know that it's always all about people. So the organisational culture, the teamwork, Rob spoke a bit about the stand-up meetings and the accountability that brings to individual contributors, but it's also then the visibility, the accountability, the ownership that comes from truly owning and delivering and being responsible for driving those opportunities to market. It's empowering and it's rewarding for the people who are involved in the process.
And that's for today. So here we are, Jen. We've gotten to the question point.
Yeah, we have a few questions here. The first one's from Nick. Are there tools or software out there to manage ideas and manage product development?
There's a range of different tools that are out there, and I guess they vary according to the scale of your business or of your company. In many cases, most businesses will actively work and create a lot of content using simple Excel spreadsheets and tools. And there are point solutions for things like idea management. There are also complete enterprise solutions that give people end-to-end governance of ideas through structured stage gate processes and complete portfolio management.
Okay, the next one's from Sarah. The morphology tool, is there some information about that and how to use it?
Yes, Sarah. There's quite a lot on the web if you look it up. So morphological boxes or morphology tool. It's also called Zwiggy boxes, named after the person who came up with it in Germany.
How do you spell that one?
ZWIGGY, Zwiggy. And yeah, there's quite a lot out there. It's a very simple tool to use. There's good information on it. I'd highly recommend it, actually. So yeah, morphological boxes is the common term.
Great, and the next one is from Gary. Agile project management, is that in use?
So Agile project management is a methodology that's come from the software industry. So the concept of scrums and sprints are a sort of common language in that particular world. What we're really doing in the product development context is borrowing from that and typically integrating that with frameworks such as StageGate, so that we do, in Bob's diagram there where he showed the sawtooth model rather than the waterfall model, trying to actively integrate those two methodologies and the concept of constant iteration, constant communication with the customer. And yes, it's absolutely very much in use, and I think represents part of the best practice set for different companies, particularly in the software world.
Yep. And just to add to that as well, it's actually used with StageGate as well, in that you use StageGate and even normal project management for larger scale projects, and use Agile project management for the iterative development work within the stages. So they can actually be used together. It's being used in the construction world now as well, so it's moving out. It's based on lean principles and is very good for an agile, responsive company.
Great. Next one's from Jeff. Can this 3D printing be used to make products quickly?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've seen over the years, in fact over 20 years, using 3D printing or additive manufacturing for prototyping. It's now actually to a stage where you can start, depending on the application, you can start to use it for components and products to go into the marketplace. So it really depends, and you need to look at it carefully. But you can actually use direct additive manufacturing for direct manufacture of parts, particularly some things that might not be so structurally, need the structural integrity, although that's getting better, or that has a high finish to it, but that's getting better also. So there's purposes that it's very useful for, and it's very quick. Direct manufacture from the CAD part, so you can get out into the marketplace quickly.
Great. Steve would like to know, how do I find a designer who can do all this for me? Are there many in Australia?
I'll jump in there. The industrial design or mechanical design fields in Australia, there's a lot of consulting companies out there, and you can get onto those through their particular professional bodies, so the Design Institute of Australia or the Institution of Engineers, and look for people that have got experience in these particular fields. There's quite a lot all over the country that are experienced in lots of product development areas, and there's also other specializations. If you're into user interface design, or you're into service design and retail, etc. So there's a lot of those available. So go to their professional bodies, I'd recommend.
Question from David. How do you create a balance between working towards standardized parts and customers all wanting highly customized solutions?
So I guess the challenge of the one-off in a product development world is a significant problem. I guess the first part is about understanding the different customers and their needs, trying to understand the commonality between the different solutions that you might offer to those customers. Ultimately, it's about systematizing what you do in such a way, and whether that's through the product or service itself, or whether it's by having a configurable solution that allows you to variably offer a product to those customers. There are also concepts about mass customization. So companies like Levi's offered an in-store measure and a 3-day delivery to your home of a customized pair of jeans that were guaranteed to fit you. So behind the scenes was a computerized automated manufacturing process that took the inputs of a set of key measurements and allowed the creation or the production of those parts. So I think it probably starts with the Pareto analysis of what's the volume of the customers by value, and understanding for which of those elements, what are the pieces that come up all the time. And maybe there's a case of you can get 80% of it standardized, but there's 20% of what you do that you need to make adaptable to meet the needs of the individual customer.
And often here you might offer the perception of choice for the customer as well, but they're actually only getting a choice of 3 external cases, or 3 different leg types, or 3 different arm types, or something like that. So that you've actually got a system in place where it's just an assembly process prior to shipping.
I think a good Australian example is that B&D Doors, who have got manufacturing sites throughout the country, will actually offer roller doors or garage doors for your home in any height and any width within parameters, within 5mm increments. So instead of saying you have to build your garage X by Y, they offer a product that flexibly meets the needs, so they can do the measure up at the end of the build, and they can offer the garage door. And then behind the scenes, they've recognised that's what the builders require, that's what the customers require. How can we build a manufacturing process behind it that can deliver to that requirement? And I think that's the concept. So their manufacturing process is really then their technology platform that says that they can uniquely offer to the marketplace that diversity of offer that their competitors perhaps can't.
Yeah, so they'll be a standout in the marketplace, and they're listening, they're responding to the customer's needs. and potentially there's even IP protection around that, or at least some jump on the marketplace that the opposition will take time to respond to that, even if they get to know about it.
And finally, we have a question from Ben. We use a stage and gate process to govern our product development. How does Agile fit with stage gate?
So I think we raised that during the presentation, that stage gate is really around the governance of, do we wish to continue to invest in this product opportunity? And Agile is often about the iteration within the stages. So the cadence or the timing of an Agile sprint or Scrum is typically in the period of weeks or fortnights, and at the most months. And so that cycle, when we're working within a stage of a product development project that could be 6 months long, or it could be, in some cases 3 years long, it's that iterative cycle that helps us get there. I should also point out that even though the stage and gate methodology is often perceived to be linear, it too can be made agile by overlapping the stages. And we can allow ourselves to move into some activities in subsequent stages even though we're not through that critical milestone. So remembering the core objective there is around reducing time to market, and we see a lot of best practice companies are actually starting to measure the cost of delay. So what value will this product opportunity bring to me once launched on the market? And for every week that I lose in offering this product on the market, or every month rather that I lose in offering this product on the market, what is my loss in revenue? What is my loss in margin? And that really helps us assess the opportunity cost, and it really helps put the emphasis on driving agility through those projects that offer most value to the business.
Very well said, Gerard, and I think that probably wraps it up for the day.
Great. Thank you everybody for attending, and look out on our website for future webinars.